You're very intense as an individual, so you have a lot of determination towards a lot of. You're very determined with your goals. Intense, but very kind. You communicate really well. You get frustrated a lot too.
Supposed to not lead the witness. You go ahead.
You asked for it.
Yeah. Keep going.
Highly intellectual.
Mm,
You're a seeker of knowledge, but you're so tapped in. You don't show a lot. You have a lot in your closet that you haven't shown yet.
mm.
Very loyal, very loyal friend, family member, protective.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
you protect,
Keep going.
and
Keep
you
going.
protect not just your family members. You're like, again, it goes back to this like sense of your, once you create a circle, it's like your circle and you protect it. How am I
Oh my
doing?
God. Oh my God. This is unreal. Keep going. Welcome to Fame and Fortune with your host, Taylor Fortune. And as you will see, BA Fame is not with us today. She is still in Florida, lying under the sun, drinking lots of Mai Tais and margaritas and whatever the hell she's doing. But this time she brought her dog, Rocky. So I think she's having a way better time doing that than doing this. So in her spot, and our guest today, we have Nuri, who I would like to have her introduce herself. Tell us a little bit about yourself from the beginning.
Thanks, Taylor. So I'm a proxy for BA.
There you go. A
Just
BA proxy. You hear that, BA? Might not have a job on here when you come
here to
back.
deliver a message telepathically here in the physical.
I love it.
That's funny. My name is Nuri. I am a trained clairvoyant, and I have been doing this practice for quite some time. I've dabbled into a lot of different practices, spiritual practices, and I've gotten to the point of really connecting with our galactic family out there and bringing the message down to this third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension on some of the practices that we're incorporating as a collective and also on an individual level, helping people through the ascension process. As we know, it's not easy out there right now.
No.
So just in a nutshell, that's what I do. Very simple. I try to keep it simple.
Yeah, that's really simple stuff you're talking about. Okay, a couple things. First off, really cool shirt and necklace. I like that. Looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't see
I
this
am
stuff.
embodying the leather. I guess it's your vibe. I think it's your vibe. I feel like I want to wear leather. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm a black leather, and as they say,
Yeah.
we don't call it jewelry, we call it hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
One of my friends just named it that. I just give her a shout out. Stephanie's like, "Your hardware." I'm like, "Yeah, I like that." Because I'm like, "Yeah, it's not jewelry. Come on, that's not masculine enough."
Yeah, it's like
But
self-protection too.
yeah,
Self-defense.
amulets, talismans,
Yeah.
what tchotchkes. What? There's so many names for it. You know.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so there's already like two things I want to unpack in your opening statement. But what struck me the most first, trained clairvoyant. Okay, that's really cool because a lot of us, are naturally intuitive, and I realize being psychic and being intuitive are two different things. I'm not going to bore people with the definitions of what that is, but they are different things. But a trained clairvoyant, tell us a little bit about that, like your background in that.
Yeah, so I actually started in France. I was studying with an exorcist for
Yes, yes,
for
go
over
on.
a year.
I'm listening. I think you got everybody right now.
Yeah, and a very incredible human being. It was a trip for me to study that and be able to use my empath.
Yeah,
So I have
empathetic. Yeah,
ESL. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I speak two languages. This is my second language, so sometimes I get lost. But I was
Farsi?
trained.
Farsi or French?
Ah,
Yeah.
good
Okay.
guess, but nobody ever guesses right. So I'm gonna maybe let this be a mystery for now. Maybe somebody will figure it
Ooh.
out by the end, what my nationality is actually. So I studied with Sebastian. It was is his name. He didn't speak any English, so we used Google Translate and some of my friends out there in France, and I got to see some real stuff. It wasn't. I was dabbling into the spiritual practices at that time. I had my awakening in 2012, even though I was aware of some of the things that I wasn't really sure of. That journey started in 2012, and then fast
We're going to
forward,
come back to that right there after this, because this is the thing. It opens up everything. What's the awakening about? But first, I mean, we're on The Exorcist, so let's stay with The Exorcist for a minute.
yeah, this practice really shot me out there. So he allowed me to watch him and practice with his real clients and really see that this stuff is real. It was a lot of validation for me that this stuff is real and we're able to work with spirits. And from there, we transitioned out, so I felt like I got enough knowledge, and he was also evolving. So we as spiritual practitioners, we tend to evolve into the next level. If we're staying in a specific kind of uh, in a
Modality.
specific spot, yeah,
Yeah.
we tend to get stagnant. So
Yes.
he decided to evolve. He went into more of a working with the heart, a little bit less of the exorcism entities. It was just some scary stuff there for me at the time. I was younger, and I ran into a teacher here locally in Sacramento. I'm in the Sacramento area that teaches clairvoyance, and it was quite interesting because I've never heard of clairvoyance before. I knew what it was, but I didn't really know that there's a program there, let alone it was ran by many people since 1980s is when it actually started to become a part of the educational system. So the main university is based in
Texting right
Hawaii.
now?
Huh?
Are you texting right now?
No. Everything's on silent.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
My discipline carries from the time to this too.
So we were teaching, and what was that?
No
Okay,
way. No.
I
No.
thought I heard something. 1980s. So they started
Awesome.
teaching clairvoyance, and they probably taught clairaudience, clairsentience, all
It's
different
it's
clairs.
really all one, yeah.
Yeah.
So we tend to develop pretty much all of the senses, right? But the main focus was on the clairvoyance. That's the sixth chakra, which is our third eye, being able to work with the upper chakras and then really turning down what we call them to turn down our lower chakras, not allowing a lot of these heavy energies to go through our physical body. So whenever we take a look at people or work with people, we tend to also feel other people's stuff. And so that practice really helps me to not detach. We're not detaching, we're all one, but become the observer and really look to see energetically. We use a lot of colors to see beyond what people may or may not see about themselves, or even tap into their past lives, tap into the future. But then again, future changes based on our decisions in every moment. So we don't really look at the future that much per se. So the program is a 4-year program. It's been a trip. So it really shot me from my third dimensional life. I went through the practice and really decided that this is something that I'm going to pursue. And with the help of my master teacher and really this program, I was able to tap into higher dimensions, higher galaxies, and start channeling some of the messages that I do bring out there for people to help with the ascension process. So
I'm
that's kind of how
really,
I got
really
there.
surprised. I'm really surprised you said it was a 4-year program. I thought you were gonna say it was like an 8-week program.
No, it's a really
That's
heavy stuff. It's not for everybody. We had a lot of dropouts. It's very you have to do shadow work.
yeah.
It's scary to
I
see
hate that
yourself
shit.
in that light. I know, I
Yeah.
know.
Fucking
And you
shadow
got
work, man. Yeah.
yeah, and you get to actually be vulnerable with other people that you don't know. We have people from all over the country in that class. So yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's insane. Okay, so I mean, yeah, you're really serious about being academically trained as a clairvoyant.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
does a
So
class look like? I mean, is it like, okay, do you partner up with people and go through basic exercises? Do you see, do you do like the clairvoyant cards and stuff? I know Ghostbusters is a silly example, but that's real shit. Like, what do you see on the other side of this card? Squiggly lines, square, circle. You go ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't want to dive too deep into
The
the
process.
process just because it creates a lot of curiosity energy, and then we get to
I'm
work that.
curious. I'm curious.
I know. Curiosity killed the cat.
Right.
Well, we start working with really getting ourselves the meditation tools, first of all,
Hmm.
learning how to meditate. And a lot of people that tend to join that program already have some sort of a spiritual background. So we really, it's, we don't market it. So the right people show up, the
Yeah.
right people within the alignment. And we don't take notes. We are not allowed to actually take notes, which is quite
Wow.
interesting. And it always has to do with we're not learning, we are relearning. We're actually, we already know all this stuff. We're just
Right.
re-remembering.
I believe that too,
And
by the way.
yeah, we get to tap in and bring down a lot of information that we don't know we have access to.
Yeah.
Anything we can think of already exists and we're able to tap in. It's just a matter of, do you have the right tools to be able to do that? And although clairvoyance, I started to research it outside the class and I realized, well, this stuff, people do it without having to go through the academic process of that. But I quickly realized if you don't have the discipline or the understanding of how to work with energies and understand when you are getting triggered, why you're getting triggered when reading someone or giving a healing to someone, it's always that give and take. It's always the student becomes the teacher, teacher becomes the student, healer becomes the healee, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's that energy exchange. And if we don't know how to separate our own stuff or other people's stuff from our own, we tend to get, into some growth periods that we don't really have to work with because it's not always our energy that we take on. So this class really teaches us how to determine which whose stuff is whose, what's going on, why are we getting triggered, why is that person sick, for example, and then having the right steps to remove whether it's an entity or a disease or an energetic block or a cord or really anything out there. But there's a very particular protocols for that, for the person to be safe and then for yourself to be safe as well.
Wow. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah. Wow. I think you're the first person I met through Instagram that has a real academic background in clairvoyance, psychic energy in general. It's interesting because all of these things in the mystic arts are a one-way ticket right back into meditation. That is the core of it all, and people don't realize that. Whether it's subtle energies, entity removal, exorcisms, ritual magic, manifestation, and intention setting ceremonies, all of it is just right into meditation. And that is the ultimate threshold that a lot of people can't get past because that is the mirror into the soul. And that is the part that is the hardest to overcome. And I've spent years doing it and I've had some success and a lot of failure, because the mind, they call it the monkey brain, they call it, the whatever, the puppy mind. There's all kinds of terms for how hard it is to get our mind to focus, especially on a singular intention. What are your thoughts on that? I imagine a lot of the years in the school was centered on meditation, concentration, and really honing in those skills.
Absolutely. And meditation is the way to get to where we're going. And it is difficult. And part of the meditation practices out there, if you are getting your monkey brain going, really becoming the observer of that. And that's another meditation practice, meditation over meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the class, it is very emphasized on meditation, but we're also not bound to being in the meditative state. Uh, has a lot of our work contains images, pictures, colors. We work with colors a lot. So as we practice more and more, everything becomes energy. I usually have a hard time seeing people for their ages. I see the soul more so now. So there's a lot of shifting that happens. And it doesn't have to be just through clairvoyant practices. It really comes down to as simple as meditation. For me, protocols and some sort of a practice really helped me, I guess, help others. Really, that's my goal with it. I don't really, I do feel that I can simplify it for myself where I go into meditation and really be present. It's all about present moment and cultivating your unconditional love within the heart. But this practice really helping me kind of maybe help people cross over, if you will, to that fifth dimension
Yeah.
and help myself to be very aware of myself.
Mm-hmm. So I know if BA were here, the question she would ask is, what does my soul look like? But she's not here, so I get to ask about what does my soul look like?
You're
Because I
very,
actually, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
ah,
interrupt.
go.
Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. I want to know. What were you going to say?
You know, I feel like I see people that way too. Like the way you said you don't see ages, but you see their essence, their soul, you know, whatever it is, their aura, even though it's not necessarily like exactly their aura. But okay, I want you to have the floor. I want to. I don't want to lead the witness. Just tell me what you see.
Okay, well, I'm going to follow my procedures. So, Taylor, would you like a reading?
I would. Thank you. I'll Venmo you later.
I don't charge, by the way.
Oh, nice.
It's all just the thank yous. Okay. You're very intense as an individual, so you have a lot of determination towards a lot of, you're very determined with your goals. Intense, but very kind. You communicate really well. You get frustrated a lot too.
Supposed to not lead the witness. You go ahead.
You asked for it.
Yeah. Keep going.
Highly intellectual.
Mm.
You're a seeker of knowledge, but you're so tapped in. You don't show a lot. You have a lot in your closet that you haven't shown yet. Very loyal friend, family member, protective.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
you protect,
Keep going.
and
Keep
you
going.
protect not just your family members. You're like, again, it goes back to this like sense of your, once you create a circle, it's like your circle and you protect it. How am
Oh
I
my
doing?
God. Oh my God. This is unreal. Keep going. I already know I'm gonna send this thing.
Okay, now I'm starting to charge.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Galactic consciousness is there for sure. I see Arcturians. Um, I see grandmother energy, and that's someone who guides,
Mm-hmm.
older woman. So that's the kind of like the flare-ups that I see around you now. Calm, but you know how to party too. It looks like you have a lot of passion. Now I know you're a musician. I saw you play a guitar. Yeah,
Is that cheating on your
a little
your
bit.
behalf? Okay, that's all right.
I'm gonna leave it at this for now.
Well, yeah, considering that you know you nailed it 100%, yeah, it's a good place to leave it. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed because you know, for the record, everyone watching this episode, we don't really know each other. I mean, we've just been following each other since your and Ishmael's live is when you first came on my radar. And Ishmael's been on my radar a lot lately because we're doing some collaborations and things like that together. So, yeah, that was very very accurate.
Thank
So,
you. Yeah, this was a very surface reading. Usually readings, I do full on past lives readings, and then we look at the auras, at the chakras, seeing where the tears are, where the portals are for other energies to come into. So the ultimate goal is to clear people we're working within ourselves to the best of our abilities in that moment.
in your approximation, am I carrying a lot of past life trauma with me right now, or even current past trauma in this life?
You're very aware, you're really aware of it if you are. There is definitely some portals that I see. So it looks like your third chakra, so your solar. I see a broken heart.
Mm-hmm.
I see there's some blockage in the throat chakra. So someone needs to hear something from you, but you just decided not to. So it's part of the, actually not exactly your trauma or karma per se, but more of something that was unsaid, and that kind of was. It looks like a pattern.
Yeah.
Like you'd rather leave rather than like address things when you know that it's really not going to go anywhere. But there's that like unsaid energy there. You're pretty clear. You have a good flow, so it feels like you do work on yourself quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Music is your thing.
You know, music, I have a love-hate relationship with music, to be honest. It comes and goes. It was my thing for way longer than maybe it should have been. It was the thing that, the thing that defined my identity, like from high school and college on, until I realized that I wasn't developing other facets of myself, and ultimately led to my autoimmune disease, where I ended up in the hospital, ended up divorced, and ended up reevaluating my life from the ground up, and that's what led to my spiritual practice, which was pretty much part of a family business, um, for tarot and astrology, cosmology, other things like that, that I finally decided to go into because I felt very devoid of meaning, direction, or a purpose. And I started getting these like fucking divine downloads from a hospital bed. And that's when I realized that there was, I hadn't been living in my truth and my power. And I had been surrounding myself with people that enabled that. And it wasn't their fault. It was my fault. I was choosing to not challenge myself in the ways that I ultimately knew through, cosmic destiny that I would have to face at some point or contend with. But like, you just have... come to these conclusions, and you get there in very strange, roundabout, and often traumatic ways.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think a lot of us have gone through some sort of traumatic experience to get to where we are today. Some gradual, but majority of the time it's really like a quicksand under your feet type of deal. And that's the beauty of, for star seeds like us, it's almost inevitable.
Like what you went through in 2012. You walked right into that one.
Like I said, I was pretty gradual.
Yeah.
Um, I had different waves of ascension, I call them, but 2012 was really, I started to try to understand what was actually going on out there. I started to see the world kind of upside down. I felt like a lot of the consumerism of back then, well, even now more so than back then, that was really starting to bother me. And I started to understand that there's something wrong with the world. So I really dug deep into the Abraham Hicks teachings, the manifestation practices, and I really started to see that this is actually working. And although I didn't share a lot of this with many other people because I had a childhood trauma from, expressing what I see, feel, and it usually got invalidated by my parents because they're highly religious. So it really blocked me from trusting myself. So this whole time since 2012, it was really validation, trusting myself. And then as parallel on my third dimensional life, I was really going after the kind of that my career movement, and just kind of seeing the parallel timelines, being in that corporate world and really making myself into this entrepreneur, and then over here I'm practicing spirituality, and it kind of came together with manifestations. So yeah, and then I had to face some family issues with my little brother. We had some trouble with him, and that there was such a really strong soul karmic tie with him that it was painful for me to go through the experience he was going through. It was such a weird thing for me. I couldn't understand why I was feeling this way, more so than he was. There was a lot going on at the time.
You want to give me a little insight into what he was going through? I mean, was it
Yeah,
drugs,
yeah.
alcohol? Like, we talk about everything on here. I talk about my own experience with drugs and alcohol a lot, So yeah, feel free to dive in if you want to.
Yeah, it was drugs. It's the pandemic of drugs that we don't talk about out there right now. It's, I'm not gonna name the pandemic we're in, but
All right, there's all kinds of pandemics. So, yeah, I
exactly.
was deep in that in 2012 myself. So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Yeah, it was a lot, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to save him. I was working with plant medicines at the time as well. So it kind of morphed into a shaman work, if you will, medicine
yeah,
person. I don't
I
like to
will,
call
I will.
myself shaman.
Yeah.
I inevitably, through my work, met with the Native Americans and to do project management and compliance work. That's my expertise within the cannabis space. So I've wrote ordinances for different jurisdictions and was able to spin that into something that I did personally. And then I guess you call it headhunted
You
to
don't
do
look like a
work.
weed smoker though.
Oh, you have no idea.
Really? Okay, because I'm pretty like perceptive of this, and like you just,
Yeah.
yeah. But you are though, so I'm okay being wrong. But
I do use it for mainly yoga practices. I do a lot of yoga, so it helps me kind of move and then yeah. And
yeah,
I don't use it for sleep. I sleep pretty well. So that's usually the reason I working out, doing yoga. It gets me in tune with my body.
so yeah, that I don't smoke weed. Like I smoked it, high school, college, all that. Then I realized I didn't like it. I'm like, it makes me paranoid. It's weird. Body sensuality or whatever, body sensuality, I can understand it. I've always, that's been the only area, like the kind of exception where like, you're in bed, you feel safe or whatever like that. I've never understood how people smoke weed and like bar hop. I'm like, how the
Oh,
fuck?
I know.
Yeah, like how can you be in that kind of environment? And so that's kind of more where I was like intuiting that you don't seem like that type, like smoke a joint and then go to work or something like that. But
No,
you're
no.
like a yoga, like as long as it's kind of affecting, as long as you have a space for kind of freedom of expression or movement or something, then it works for you.
Yeah, it goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. Everything is a ceremony.
Mm,
Everything is, we once we become unconscious of an act, that is when it becomes an issue.
yeah,
But if we're conscious and we are aware, usually 9 times out of two, when I go grab that cake from the fridge, and if I'm aware enough, I'm doing it, times out of 10, I'm probably not going to want it anyway because
yeah.
there's a different reason for it. So that's kind of how I look at everything I do. It's like, where's my awareness with this? So yeah, and then the natives, they hold 7 tribes underneath an umbrella. And so we had a lot of work to do across the country. But in order for me to become part of the team, I had to go through a ceremony. And I said, why not? I'm already in the cannabis space. How much, crazier can it get? And little did I know
Peyote or
that was,
what?
I'm sorry?
Peyote? What was the ceremony?
Yeah, yes. Actually, peyote.
I, I
Ah.
know things.
Oh, that's right. You're just like, dang,
Yeah.
I'm not the only reader in this room, huh?
Right, right. Probably not as good as you. I don't know. I mean, but
Oh, you, I don't
yeah.
know. I see you.
You see, you're the only one. Do you hear that, Mom? Someone sees you.
Yeah, so it was a truth serum ceremony, I called it. Well, they said it. They said it was, and the chief's daughter came up to me during the ceremony. It was so intense for me. I did not realize how much benefit I would get from those 12 hours of hell, I called it. We really had to go through shadow work. And one thing she told me, and it really carried through the rest of my journey, she said she went outside and she saw one of those tiki torches. There's a pathway that we created from the teepee to go to a different side of the, I guess, land. And she said that there was one tiki torch that was going out, but it would just go out and she would light it and it would go out again. And it looked like it was full, but she couldn't light it for the life of her. And so she stepped back and looked at it and it just lit up. So she told me, we can't force somebody to wake up. We can't force someone to bring their light, but what we can do is keep our light, and then they will eventually light up too. So I carried that through. I really worked through my own shadows and started to understand where my tie was with my brother. And there were some past lives that I had to look at where we actually were twins in one of them, multiple actually lifetimes, which is quite interesting. I don't have any other karmic ties or karma that I'm playing out with other people that has been the same theme, so to speak. It's always like different characters. But I watched him die in that lifetime, and then it was my turn. So we were both kind of in that state. So I really took a deep look at that, and I started to understand why I'm doing my work. And through that, I've connected with many people that are now helping him through his journey. And the moment I let go of the whole, how do I help my brother, is when he actually started to become better.
Wow.
So, and then I got to see that this stuff is real. I got deeper and deeper into my spiritual practices and started to replace a lot of my third dimensional work with more of the spirituality. And now, 80% of my work is spiritual.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot from a fucking peyote trip too, by the way. Um, you mentioned twins though, because in a past life.
He's not a twin now, but we do look the same. It's a lot of people say that we should have been twins this lifetime. He's a
Right.
year younger, a year and 2 months.
So you guys are like Irish twins.
I know, except he's blonde and blue eyes.
Oh my
A hint,
god.
a hint of what my nationality is, but I don't look like my nationality. That's why it's gonna be hard.
I mean, blonde hair, blue eyes. We always go right to Scandinavian, but like, no, German.
I'll tell you, maybe.
Hold on. I mean, somewhere in the
Wait,
UK.
use your psychic
Now
skills.
that I'm on the spot, they're going away.
About it though.
The gods like to make fun of me here. I'm on the spot. Um, nationality, blonde hair,
I'm
blue
the
eyes.
reader today, so you get to chill today.
And now I'm trying to go like too obscure. I'm like, are you Dutch? Are you like, um, English? Fuck it, I can't. I'm gonna cut this part out. People, I need to preserve the legend of Taylor Fortune. I'm crashing. Okay, tell me.
Okay, so let me give you a hint. A country that is the most hated right now.
Oh my god. Well, Russia. I mean, okay.
Yes, Russia.
Yeah, Russia. Yeah. Wow. Okay. You're Russian?
Ага. Да, я говорю по-русски.
Oh my god. I can't believe I asked if you fucking spoke Farsi earlier. How embarrassing. You do not look Russian, okay? I'm just, for
Do you
what it
speak
is.
Farsi?
No, I'm not Persian either,
Okay, okay, because you do look Persian a little bit.
I've heard that. I've heard that a lot. Like, which is funny because my family is very Nordic looking.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of like this outlier where I don't know where I got this kind of Mediterranean, Middle Eastern look, but
Arcturians who are not from this planet, so
Arcturians, yeah, and that they have the like Egyptian kind of look.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't know live. I don't know what starseed I am to be honest with you. Like uh, I mean, Lyrans are cool. Like, um, Polarians, those are cool too. But yeah, I haven't like picked one. They're not like picked like hey, decide which one you want to be. But download wise, I haven't known firmly if I even am a star seed because one thing is that I really like the sun. I'm a Leo. I love the desert. I love a lot of
Ah, it's
yeah.
something.
I love a lot of aspects of planet Earth. Like I used to surf. I loved the ocean. Um, I ride a motorcycle. So for me, like my bliss is riding through the desert on like a 90-degree day on my motorcycle on like just 2-lane blacktop, the road to nowhere or everywhere. I know this sounds like really cheesy, like some like, 60s movie or something, but I live my life like a cheesy 60s movie. I think anyone will tell you that. I'm like just like this kind of, outdated archetypal fucking drifter mystic type.
What kind of bike do you ride?
I ride a Harley Dyna.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like black.
I'm a rider too.
Are you really? What do you ride?
Gixxer 1000.
A Gixxer, holy fuck, dude. Those things will go like 220.
Yeah, I take it out on the track. I don't do street riding anymore. I done street riding for a couple of years and then now it's done.
Yeah, Gixxer 1000 is a That is not a lightweight bike. That is a fucking beast. Okay, for all those who aren't out there, or all those who don't know out there, Harley, obviously a cruiser, old man's bike, Hell's Angels, whatever. A fucking Gixxer 1000 is the ultimate crotch rocket. Like that is like one of the fastest consumer bikes there is, right?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm
It's like,
not that, I'm not gonna compare the Gixxer to some of the Ducatis out there. I did have a Ducati as well, and I felt like it was a lot more, uh, yeah,
faster.
I believed so. Yeah, at least it handled different. It
Yeah,
handled that where I could go faster. Gixxer was heavier,
yeah, yeah.
bigger, and I'm tiny. I'm only 5'4", so it
Oh,
was,
okay.
yeah, it was a big bike.
See, I'm a big guy. Like that's why I like Harleys because I'm 6'3", and I just need like I don't care about speed as much as like power. I
Yeah,
just want to cruise. I want to be loud as fuck, and I want to like just I want the parents to not like me, and I want the little kids to be fascinated with me. So I just loud pipes save lives. So I just
I love
terrorize
it.
neighborhoods and just go on the open road and all that stuff.
I've never ridden a Harley. I've been on the back of one,
Yeah,
so I feel more comfortable riding in the back of Harleys actually, because I get to cruise, just
yeah.
chill, say hello to people.
For sure, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I did not know that about you, so I'm learning a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of similarities. So you said you like the sun. I like the sun too. As you know, my username on Instagram is sun_sunshine.
Sunshine, right?
Yeah, and my name actually translate the full name you have, translate as the light of God or the ray of the sun. So it's in alignment with that. And I want to show you some things maybe next time
Yeah, next time.
where, yeah, where I could show why we're so drawn to the sun and who in the galaxy we're connected with, which being.
Ooh, like Apollo or something like that, or
It has to do with the Arcturians, and I'll show you why. I
okay,
have to show
okay.
you first.
I should have known you were Russian because when I was putting your name into my Gmail, it reminded me a lot of one of my ex-Russian girlfriends. Just the phonetics of it, just the flow of it. I'm like, oh, this it felt very familiar to me.
The last name, maybe.
The last name,
Yeah.
the
The
last
well,
name.
the last name that you got is probably what gave you the indication.
Yeah,
That
but
ending, Ova.
yeah, she was a Mova.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can't say her full name because
Okay.
libel reasons. But yeah, she had that same suffix on there. Um, yeah, this is fascinating though. I still would have never guessed that though. But okay, now I was leading somewhere before when I mentioned twin with your brother, and I was trying to force a segue here into your favorite topic.
I think everybody's favorite topic, twin flames.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's talk about it.
where to begin? Yeah, where to begin? So, what drew you? Okay, I guess here, let's just begin from the top really quick. I want your definition for all those. I just like to assume that people don't know or they don't know who to ask or whatever. So let's just start at the beginning. What is a twin flame?
I guess to put it in a nutshell, twin flame is two separate souls coming from one, and they're mirrors of one another. And it's the most intense connection that we can experience on planet Earth. And it acts as a tool for us to ascend to the fifth dimensional state of consciousness. It's my definition of twin flame.
I like that, and I agree with your definition. Interesting, we talked about this before on Cosmic Love, and we're going to dive deeper into this. You did happen to say two souls that come from one instead of two halves of the same soul. I realize that's semantics a little bit, but there's a little bit of a difference in a belief then, thinking that it is two individual souls versus it being directly two halves of the exact same soul. So we're kind of like these incomplete half souls. Thoughts?
Well, you know what? I will correct myself. So it is two souls coming from one. But then if we take it a little bit further, we're all one. It's all one consciousness. And we get to choose the path we're walking and working here on planet Earth. And when our soul decides to have that other half and everybody out there has that other half. Whether or not we choose to work with that tool in that lifetime is going to be up to us pre-incarnation. So whether or not we meet the soul of ourselves in another, that's going to be up to us. How evolved are we? Are we ready for that type of a relationship? First and foremost, it's super intense, and it is one of the I say one of the most effective tools to get into balance and get into the fifth dimensional state of consciousness. Just from my personal experience, from some of the research that I have done, and really the goal of everyone, where we're going to that unity, that unconditional love. We work with relationships, friendships, connections in order for us to really mirror each other and see what we need to work on. Twin flames, though, it is right in your face. It's, you love stuff about yourself, here it is, and it's super intense. And then if you don't, here it is, and work your shadows, and not a lot of people can. And that's what I believe twin flames are.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a very good definition. Um, there's so many questions, so many ways to go. I know, like, you've dealt with a lot of the basic questions, so I don't want to just regurgitate that stuff, but also sometimes value the basics in the questions. Like, one thing that people ask, calling to cosmic love, when I do Instagram lives, I talk about this. They simply ask, how do you know if you have a twin flame, and does everyone have a twin flame?
Yeah, I do believe that everybody has a twin flame. And again, it depends on, the karmic situations that we get ourselves into, and we're just not ready to meet that twin. Or we have met them, we just didn't have that encounter because we were simply not aware enough or not ready. And when we do have that twin flame, there is no question about it. There's just, and I want to also segue into some false twin flame. There's that definition out there as well, and then what I believe false twins are. But we do know, and it lights up the entire chakra system. It puts us into the highest state of vibration, and the intimacy is off the hook. It's typically those relationships happen to be the in the for also part of the intimate relationship, so they're kind of all in one. There are twin flames out there. They're friends, for example, and they're really, really intense. But I personally believe that is just all to balance us out in all of the aspects. So it'd be our first chakra, second chakra, sexuality, our emotions, our heart, first and foremost, our ability to communicate with one another, be able to see and then connect with the spirit together. So that's the goal of the relationship.
So, do you believe a twin flame relationship with both people in their highest divine activation, can it still not be a romantic relationship?
Absolutely. You can morph into friends, and it comes with awareness.
Yeah.
Or it can be a friendship because it comes with awareness. And really that twin flames are a tool for us to balance our feminine and masculine, and
Yeah.
that unconditional love cultivation. And so we get to a point, and now I'm going to disappoint a lot of people who really are seeking their twin flames here, but
I love it. I
we do
love it.
get
You heard it here, folks, on
I
Fame and
told you.
Fortune. Yeah, I love it. Go ahead.
Going to
Disappoint away.
disappoint some people. When we get to the full balance for ourselves, we don't
We don't
seek
need them.
anymore.
Yeah, we don't need them anymore. Fuck them. You got me to the top of the mountain. Now off you go.
Love, with love.
Oh, that's dark. That's dark.
Yeah, but again, it's a the fourth dimensional tool, just like any other practice out there, just to the unconditional love. If we're lucky enough to be with our twin flame forever, and there are many couples that are now coming into this fifth dimensional consciousness within their relationship, they are able to cultivate it further, and we really don't seek anything outside of that either. It's just you're completely filled within yourself, and the other person just adds to your journey, if you will. And
Yeah.
it's just one. There's nothing that they can do to change that. And if they even separate from you physically elsewhere, and they have a different circumstance they're dealing with, different, karmic ties, married, whatever it may be, we still get to the point of I'm balanced within myself, and I'm going to cultivate it.
It must be
And
really balanced because mine are nowhere to be found anymore. How about
I
okay? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think my work had to, oh gosh, emphasize on my masculine. So I was very masculine dominant for a while.
Yeah.
So a lot of my relationship really shown me that, and the twin flame phenomena really shown me that. So I do believe I'm getting to that balance of, having that feminine and the masculine, and I do feel fulfilled personally. I do feel like I'm really open, and at the same time I'm not seeking. That's the key, is we're not attached. There's no attachment. You
Right.
let go, you let it flow.
Yeah. Second cosmological law of the universe is attraction, and one of the most important ones. So you have had a twin flame. You've been through the experience already.
I believe so, yes. I believe so very strongly because the all of the aspects that people talked about, you can't stop thinking about the person despite of,
All the aspects you lecture about.
yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really dug deep into the twin flame phenomenon, and I really started to understand that a lot of the goal is to not detach per se, but understand why the attachment, understand why the trigger. And
Yeah.
even if they're not playing a part of your life, in my case, the circumstances are put us into a separation mode for probably the whole lifetime. And we're actually okay with that. And that really gave us an opportunity to get into the balance. And he's been able to have a beautiful family and take what we've learned through that communication, that connection, and cultivate it within his own family. And it's incredible the relationship that he's been able to cultivate within, his dynamic. And for me, I really got what I needed. I needed that mirror for me to see. I needed someone who was vulnerable enough to show me their colors so I can see mine.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be able to get to that point and balance myself out. And here I am.
Here you are, rocking us like a hurricane. Do we have? Is it possible to have more than one twin flame?
I do believe that.
Okay.
Yes. So
I think I
now,
might.
hmm.
I think I
See,
might.
I do quantum practices. So now
Yes,
let's
yes, 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 yes.
there's
Through the theory of quantum practices, we come to the
a
conclusion that.
theory around that. So the intensity, we've already established that this is a really intense connection, and you know that it is. And it's
Yeah.
usually lighting you up from first chakra all the way up. There's no disbalance. There's no like, oh well, we share emotions, but we're locked up in this chakra.
Yeah.
It's really, once that encounter happens, and then thing blockages come up, and that's how we work through them. So there are versions of, so we don't live linearly. We experience life, different dimensions, different circumstances, but we always repeat cycles that we need to address.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, we run into situations, let's just say twin flame again. We'll call it, for the sake of the argument, a false twin flame that shows us similar aspects of the twin flame that showed us previously to that. So it's another version of that same twin flame, same soul. Everything is one soul. So it's another version of me showing me my shadow work.
I see.
Now, the only difference is I know for a fact this is me, this is my mirror. Instead of having a soulmate, there's another, I guess, another encounter we can have that's also pretty intense, but you can tell it's a soulmate, where it's like things are aligning and they're working and they're kind of flowing. There's no like
I've never had that before.
no.
No. I think honestly, I think like I do have a couple soulmates but it's not romantic. That's
Yeah,
the
it
thing.
doesn't have to be. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be. It could be a friendship, again, friendship, or even family members could be. They are soulmates. We've chosen them to be our soulmates, to be here on this earth to work with us. And those are usually the karmic ties, or kind of our companions, if you will, that make the life a lot better, a lot smoother. So
Yeah.
we get to choose. So we work with soulmates and kind of take our break at the end of the day after doing our shadow work in LA traffic, whatever it may be.
Let me ask you. This is a very strange question, but I had a psychic once tell me the two candidates in my life for twin flames, not soulmates, not friends, but well, friends, yes, but like, you know, twin flames. I had a psychic tell me that they are one and the same. Two people, they don't know each other at all.
Yeah.
They're the only connection is they both know me, and I'm like, I started. She started to lose me with that statement because she had told me that one of them was my twin flame. Absolutely, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, this person's my twin flame. And then I met someone else that I fell in love with. Boom, like immediately, love at first sight. I think it was mutual. I don't know. It seemed pretty mutual by the end of the night. All the same.
After 5 drinks.
Yeah. A few drinks later, it
We're
was mutual
good.
as fuck, you know. But I'll have to edit that part out. She probably watches and hates the fact that I said that. But anyway, whatever. It's not about you. Don't be such a narcissist. So then I'm like, okay, so I'm back to the psychic. This almost sounds like a setup for a joke. And I'm like, how could this first person be my twin flame if you know, or I said, oh, I just met someone, and I think I'm in love with them, you know. And she said, that's also your twin flame. And I said, but I thought you said this other person was my twin flame. She's like, they're both your twin flame. Okay, go on. And, you know, she's like, they're both two halves of the same soul. But I'm like, but I thought I was part of that soul. If I'm the twin flame, so are we triplet flames? And before I keep sounding stupid here, I'm going to let you take over on what your assessment is of that, because I am still a little bit confused by that. And I kind of just didn't believe her. But now that I'm talking to you, you sound like you know a little something about that, or can shed a little bit of light on that. So you have the floor.
Yeah, well, again, it goes back to another version of that twin flame playing out. So when we're ready to meet our twin flame,
Yeah.
we're gonna they're gonna show up in one version or another, whether it be a person you're gonna walk by in the grocery store or meet them in the parking lot. It could be two completely different people, but it's up to you. If you are ready for this type of relationship, any version of a twin flame is ready to show up. So it could be anybody, but not just anybody. It would be someone who is in alignment with you to show you your shadow work, your other half, not other half. I'm gonna be careful with words here.
Right, because
But another version of you. So both can be very well be your twin flames, but you happen to take another path or another pivot or another direction, made another choice to go out that evening, for example, and ask someone else out. And then the universe decided, well, he's ready for this twin flame relationship. This person is the twin flame because you already pivoted. The other one is on the other, we have forks in the road. Which one are you going to choose? But either way, we're getting to that one point.
Okay, but what does that mean? Okay, good answer. I like that. But how would they be connected? Because this said psychic told me that they are connected. And like I said, they don't know each other. And I don't know if they would agree that they're connected if they were to meet in real life. So
I'd be curious to, they've never met, right?
No,
I don't think that's
I
going
don't
to
think it's a good idea.
happen. You never know.
I think one might be more open
They're
than the
twin
other.
flames. No.
Oh my god, yeah, right. What do you say, babe? Yeah. No,
And have you met the other? Just out of curiosity, have you met the other one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In
yeah,
person.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
And I guess, how did you feel? Did you feel that connection?
Both I feel the most timeless connection with I can ever describe. Like, it's different.
It's nice to have choices.
Right. One is heavily romantic, feels like familiar from a place of passion, like love, lust, like all of that kind of stuff. And the other feels like familiar in terms of family. I feel protective. I feel like, like a guardian or something, like, daddy vibes, whatever it is, but not the sexy daddy vibes, but like, father vibes. I don't know. Just different, like, very like, I don't know, like I just it's like almost the opposite. It's hard to describe. Like I just want to like
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's
it's
hard.
there's
I'm see how I'm usually very articulate and like there I'm like tongue tied. I can't even describe it because it's so powerful and so timeless that like it's almost like how you use colors for clairvoyance. Like I need things beyond words to actually be able to access or articulate the feelings I have for these two separate people because it's so rich and deep that I have a hard time processing it myself.
Yeah. So first of all, congratulations for acknowledging that and being able to see that. And the whole protection thing, you brought that up. Twin flames tend to show us some of the things that we're blocked in. And as an astrologer, you would probably know that, we get to see some of the blockages that we have just because we were born under a specific, type of zodiac sign.
Yeah.
And our twin flames get to show us all of these aspects, and if it's not that person, you're going to see it from a different perspective from the person that you are with, that you believe that this is a twin flame and the other one as well. So either way, you're going to get the work done. And maybe this relation, or let's not call it a relationship, but the encounter was just showing you a glimpse of what the other one is going to have you work on. So even if you stayed, let's just say you chose the other path, you'd have the same thing. You'd have some of the aspects that you're working with here that have glimpses over here. You don't know, this person may have other things that they could have shown you, but since you have another twin flame that you're working with, it's going to get worked through that relationship in a different way. Because from what I see, you're working the zodiac signs, and from what I've heard, the kind of like that Leo energy is, you're so aware of it. It's almost like that twin flame that, so correct me if I'm wrong, that's the one that you feel protective over.
Yeah, romantic and protective. Those are the two.
Yeah, so it's just the aspects that we get to work with. And if we have other tools that we have that we're working with on certain aspects, that twin flame may not be a fit for us, for example, and we get to choose another one. It's like we get guided. And I believe the psychic that told you that both of them are, I do believe it to be true. And you've made a conscious, subconscious, conscious choice
Right.
to work on a specific type of work with one or the other, or both. I don't
Yeah, it
know.
is.
Some people
Yeah,
choose both, and it's a lot.
you're right on so many levels because the ways in which I have changed, which is what it's all about, divine activation, personal development, growth, all of that kind of stuff. The ways in which I have changed since I've known these two people is immeasurable, immeasurable. I claim, to be a divine masculine, and that doesn't. I'm very clear to say that doesn't mean I'm perfect. It's far from it, but what it means is that. I definitely have reached a certain level. You could call it like a black belt or something with your own kind of spiritual vibration that you're living in. But remember, guys, black belts, there's fucking 10 degrees of black belts. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people say in martial arts, when you get your first degree black belt, whatever it is, karate or Brazilian jiu jitsu, doesn't matter. A lot of the masters say when you get your first degree black belt, that's when you've now entered into the basic knowledge of that martial arts. And then you have, the next 40 years to get like your 10th degree Dan and whatever. So
Yeah.
my divine masculine ascension, I believe, is like my first degree black belt. And one of the reasons why I feel like I can claim divine masculine, because I fuck up a lot. I make a lot of mistakes. I still hurt people. I still say stupid shit and whatever. But I am always aware of it, as best as I can be. Always aware of the mistakes I make, always process it, reflect on it, and do what I can to amend it if it can be fixed. Sometimes you just fuck things up and like let time, the universe, those are the only things that can heal something. But other times it's like we can take agency, like affect change. We can actually do something to fix it. And I'm always committed to making my own wrongs or other wrongs that are within my power to fix. I'm always committed to fixing that. And I believe the divine masculine, divine feminine equation at the end of the day, it's very simple. It's kind of like the golden rule or the Wiccan Reed or libertarian philosophy of we don't hurt each other and we don't take each other's things. What it really boils down to at the end of the day is, did you have a more positive impact on the world today, or did you have a more negative impact on the world today? And you take that and you add it up day by day by day over time, and you start to leave an imprint on the world if you're in your divine power, which will add up over time to more positivity, more growth, more evolution, more ascension, more development, all of that kind of stuff, versus problem after problem, burning one person after another and just leaving a trail of shit in your wake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's, perfectly said. We use every opportunity, whether it be twin flame phenomena or something else that comes up in our life. We have to use every opportunity for evolution, for self-growth, self-reflection.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate goal. It's not really about the other person or finding the other person or being with another person. It's really about ourselves. And then we tend to attract those other people that are in alignment with us. And if so happens that we are in this type of relationship and the other person is aware enough to evolve with us, I mean, by all means, that's the most incredible relationship of our lifetime and for many lifetimes to come. So yeah, I agree with you on the self-evolution all the way.
Nuri, that is a perfect place to wrap. I could go on all day. I think we should hopefully we'll get you on Cosmic Love next week, and then you should come back to the podcast with BA, because I know she's going to be really interested in this stuff too.
I would love to. Would love to. We'll see how everybody responds to me too. It's like I'm a little bit out there.
No, we're all out there. Like this is a community for out there. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
So pitch yourself. Where can we find you? Instagram, YouTube, wherever.
Yeah, so I have Instagram and Telegram under 9D as in David Harmonics. And it's Nuri_Sunshine. So I do post a little bit there. I will tell you guys, I'm not very tech savvy, so I'm not as fancy as Taylor with the background and stuff. Yeah, right. But I try to get the message out there. I love it. You're gonna have to teach me this.
I will. I'll teach you everything.
Yeah, so that's where you guys can find me. My Telegram is usually where I'm the most responsive, and yeah. By all means, I'm out there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been great. I will see you out in IG land and wherever else. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.